Okay, so let's take a moment to knock out those other two Acclaim South Park games. It only feels right to, after all. Plus, neither of them are interesting enough for one video, so I can just smash them into this one. We'll start with South Park PS1's immediate follow-up in South Park, Chef's Love Shack. Obviously, once again done by Acclaim, Chef's Love Shack was dropped first onto the Nintendo 64 in both NA and EU, with versions coming to the Dreamcast, PC, and PlayStation 1 months later. The focal point of the game is obviously Chef, which, if you're unfamiliar with Chef, he was formerly a constant reoccurring character in South Park, being the chef of the school's cafeteria. He often gave advice to the boys and accompanied them on quite a few of their adventures, too. I know it's probably strange to explain a character from one of the most popular shows in the world, but I had a strange thought. Modern fans of South Park might not even know or remember Chef, since he was killed off in season 10 of the show, all the way back in 2006. God, I'm fucking old. He has made a few appearances in South Park games since his removal from the show, but Chef's been gone for 17 years now. Regardless, he has a video game centered around him, one where he's hosting a TV show on South Park's local access station. This show is, of course, Chef's Love Shack, a trivia-based show wherein 4 beautiful babes vie for the ultimate prize, spending a night with Chef. Unfortunately for Chef, they were unable to locate any sexy women to play, so they're substituted by the 4 main boys of South Park: Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. Pick your preferred boy, and the game commences. Thankfully, this game was made far before the episode Return of Chef, so it's not completely awkward at least.
Well, how about I meet you boys after work and we can make love? Come on, children. You're my sexual fantasy.
You pick how many rounds you want to play, each of them having a sexual innuendo to represent them, including quickie, foreplay, good lovin', and hot and heavy. With that, the game can really get going. Being that I couldn't find anyone to play this with, I opted to go at it alone. Quite literally, as Chef's Love Shack does not provide you with AI players to compete against, except occasionally for certain games, but that's about it. For reference, the first Mario Party game came out just a scant while before this one, and it had full AI player functionality too, so it definitely was possible. They just didn't do it for whatever reason. Either they couldn't, or it just wasn't feasible for the dev team to pull off. Maybe they didn't have the budget. I have no idea. To dial it back a little bit, I mentioned the game having AI players in certain situations, and it does. Like for this minigame that's just a copy of Warlords. Otherwise, you are just literally playing by yourself. Rounds go like this. Questions come first, which is how you acquire points. The questions are divided into categories that are all given humorous South Parky names, but none of the questions are actually relative to South Park at all. They're all just pretty general knowledge type stuff. Things you'd see in a normal trivia game, obviously. Occasionally, the questions will be spiced up by a special round, like the pressure round, where you need to answer questions with 1 of 2 answers, so you can prevent Cartman from being anal probed.
You are the coolest guy I have ever known. My ass is eternally grateful. See, it's saying thank you.
Or not.
You dumbass hippie motherfucker, my damn ass is sore as hell.
You also have the Double Down, which is a double Jeopardy rip, but it's one you still have to buzz in for, strangely. After rounds of questioning, you move on to the minigame, finally. Winning these awards you with more points, of course. The minigames in Chef's Love Shack are all fairly simplistic, with nothing that really stands out among them, to be honest. Overlords, Simon Says, Throw Chickens into a Coop, and Donkey Kong. I didn't play every game, obviously, but I can't imagine there's any that are super fun or amazing. You repeat the question minigame process for however many turns you selected at the start. Winner is the player with the most points, and the game just kinda ends after. Not much fanfare to be spoken of. You win, credits, play again. If you're a dipshit, that is. Honestly, I'm probably being a bit too hard on it, but Chef's Love Shack is the very definition of mediocrity. The game is ugly, the questions have nothing to do with South Park, the minigames are just dime store knockoffs of actual games, and you can't even really play it without friends. What fun is there in just winning by a lack of competition? There is none, really. As a result, I'd say it's worse than the first game for sure. Perhaps you could squeeze some enjoyment out of it with friends, but otherwise this one's really bad. With that out of the way, we come to the actual worst game in the Activision South Park trilogy. South Park Rally. A kart racing game, because once again, we need to copy Nintendo for this little franchise. Rally was blasted out of a diarrhea shotgun in the year of 2000. Rally was developed for 4 consoles simultaneously by one Tantalus Interactive, who at the time only had 20 employees. 4 consoles, 20 employees. Jesus Christ, superstar. Rally begins with a kart racing themed variant of the show's opening theme, one that breaks down into a remix once you drop into the menu. Rally offers 3 modes of play: Championship, Arcade, and Multiplayer. Arcade is just one race you're choosing, and multiplayer is the same, but you can play it with one friend on consoles. Championship mode is the main draw here though, it being a long series of races that you play through, so you can unlock the other game's races and the playable racers for use in both of the other modes. So of course we boot up championship mode for a fun playthrough. Two things I genuinely wish I knew before I started this mode. One, there are 14 races in this one, and you have to beat them all in one go. There is no saving and quitting. God fucking help me. The second thing I wish I knew is that this is not just a simple kart racer. Oh no, outside the very first race, which is a normal one, every other race in this game has some sort of stupid gimmick attached to them or is not a race, period. Let me go through all of these as fast as possible for you. Race 1, simple race. Go in a circle. Race 2, grab the trophy, then finish the race as normal. Race 3, grab the cure for your mad cow disease and hold it for 2 minutes while avoiding other racers. Race 4, collect Cupid's bow and arrow and then shoot each of the other racers to win. Race 5, grab some dirty crap briefs and then complete 3 laps. Race 6, collect 10 chickens and deposit them in the local farmhouse so they'll be protected from the chicken fucker. Race 7, get 20 Easter eggs that spawn all across the map randomly. Race 8, deliver pink lemonade to a randomly selected table. Do this 4 times to win. Race 9, collect the laser and then run it across all 4 points on the map to win. Race 10, another actual race. Holy shit, how quaint. Race 11, collect candies and drop them off at a save point. Get the most and win. Race 12, collect 20 turkeys and race to the bell to ring it and win. Race 13, collect the present, then race across all 4 checkpoints. And finally, 14, wherein you grab the dimensional key and hold on to it to 2 minutes before you can finally declare this shit stain of a mode to be over. 14 levels, out of which 2 can be considered actual straight up races. 2. Dose. Thought I was going to be playing a fun little kart racer game, but I suppose not. I'm playing a crappy party game with the skin of a racing game. What's worse is if you play this game in free mode, you can basically set any map to just be a normal race. So why not give me a normal Grand Prix mode instead of all this bullshit? I played this racing game in order to race, not play grab ass with other racers, and especially not to play oddball. I fucking hate oddball. Much like other kart racers, Rally features a bevy of items that you acquire from multiple colored boxes that are always sprinkled around the tracks, of course. Each of these different colored boxes contain a handful of different items with no real coherent theme between each color. They are all South Park themed at least, so it's got that going for them. You can barf, you can shit, send a prostitute to give your opponent herpes, have a dog hump you into submission, fart to go faster, and there's some normal projectiles and traps as well. You can also obscure everyone's vision with spooky vision. Ooh, bleh, Saddam Hussein. There's also apparently a pink eye power-up that flips your opponent's controls, but I actually never picked that one up. Manual says it's rare though, and I wasn't gonna play this game more than once after all. Anyway, this game sucks. It's once again pretty damn ugly. It honestly looks even worse than the original PS1 South Park game. The audio once again is terrible too. My favorite. It handles fine, I guess, but the problem I think is it handles fine for a kart racer, when it's not a kart racer about 95% of the time. So many of these games you play here are immensely frustrating because of these controls. Making it worse is basically none of these non-race gameplay types are fun, with some of them being agonizingly unfun. The main one, at least in my opinion, are the ones where you need to wrest an item away from another racer. You need to ram into them to make them drop it, which, number one, I'm not entirely sure how hard you actually have to ram someone to get them to drop their cookies. I've done it soft and hard, getting them to drop their stuff with both on occasion, but there's no consistency to it at all. Secondly, this will create these clusterfucks where you and the AI players are just pinballing into each other in a desperate bid to try to grab the objective from one another. Mercifully, if you do manage to snag the objective and build any kind of lead, the AI will never even come close to you. Look at this one here. I got the cure and I just did circles around the whole map, never getting caught once the whole time. To sum it up, basically none of these games are fun. I wanted to race carts and shit on people, not fucking deliver lemonade, or play oddball. God damn it, I fucking hate oddball. The game is also pretty lacking on the humor front as well, the only jokes being delivered by the mayor pre-race, and that's it. So really, there's nothing here for anyone in regards to this game. It's not fun, South Park fans won't really enjoy it, and kart racing players certainly won't enjoy it either. So I'll try to end this one on a more interesting note. South Park Rally actually has a surprising amount of cut content, including playable racers in Mrs. Crabtree, the chicken fucker, and a clown as well. These 3 can actually be playable too if you're willing to grab a PC version and add some files to make them show up in-game. Additionally, Kenny's father had an unfinished model too, as does Fat Abbott being an unfinished racer as well. There was also a football and a totally cut football mode as well, it seems, both of which have some graphics still on the disc. There's also a few cut items like the triangle of Zinthar and a throwable Ike Broflovski, him being just a racer in the game now. So yeah, that's the end of the Acclaim South Park trilogy, a series of games so bad it killed the prospect of AAA South Park video games for 14 years. I hate all of these games. Thankfully though, Stick of Truth proved that there could be a good South Park game, and its follow-up in Fractured But Whole proved it could happen twice. I've read that there's a third South Park game in the works currently, and I hope it's as good as these two. I also really hope it's set in the Good Times with Weapons universe, but I digress. As always though, dearest of viewers, my name is HadesManticore, and this here channel do be CityStateManticore. Thanks a ton for watching if you did. Be sure to drop a fat like, comment, and subscribe because as always, there's more content to come. See y'all in the next video. Goodbye.